paradigm of absolute control. And that's why we're just out here doing simple things, pointing out that we're meant to be in nature and be natural. And this is where we find the source that God made to transcend the New World Order. And that's why they want to try to keep us out of it.
I'm angry. I've had enough of these people. They're a bunch of Christian murderers scum. They're on giant death factories keeping babies alive and selling their body parts. What more do you need to know about these people? I go out and face these scum. They literally crawl out from under rocks. They have green looking skin and they run around screaming, we love Satan, we wanna eat babies. I have them on video. Hillary's in the creepy weird sick stuff, man. She sleeps in the same room with that creepy weird woman whose mother wears a hood over her head. What the hell? That woman number one is ugly. Imagine how bad she smells, man. I'm told her and Obama just stink. Obama and Hillary both smell like sulfur. Hit a roof, vampire pot, then the goblins are hobbling round, coming after us. My spirit gets close to that evil and I feel it go. We're such self-centered crap. We don't even notice hell itself rising up against us. Millions of pointed people of the very worst type, and I'm so pissed. We're gonna stab your daughter at the mall. We're gonna stab your wife, your son. We're gonna stab you with a butcher knife, and then the police chief is gonna say, we love our Somalis, we love our Muslims. Oh, they're so good, oh, they're so sweet.
I was watching Fox News as I worked out this morning.
Horrors in this house. There's some horrors in this house. There's some horrors in this house. There's some horrors in this house. I said certified freak. 7 days a week. Wet ass P word. Make that pullout game weak. Yeah, you effin' with some wet ass P word. Bring a bucket and a mop for this wet ass P word. Give me everything you've got for this wet ass P word. Beat it up, N-word, catch a charge. Extra large and extra hard. Put this P word right in your face. Swipe your nose like a credit card. Hop on top, I wanna ride. I do a kegel while it's inside. Spit in my mouth, look in my eyes. This P word is wet, come take a dive. It continues along these lines. And it gets significantly more vulgar. Like, a lot more vulgar.
I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat you. I will eat your ass. My children aren't going hungry. I'll do it. I'll drink your blood. And I'm starting to think about having to eat my neighbors. You think I like sizing up? I'm gonna haul him up back chain. Chop his ass up, size it up. I'm gonna haul him up back chain. Chop, 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 chop. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat you. I will eat your ass. I'll barbecue your ass flat. I will cook your ass up so fast, and I'll tell them, oh, I killed a cow out back, baby. You think Christ would eat somebody? He would never do that. I will. I'm ready to hang them up, gut them and skin them and chop them up. You know what? I'm ready. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat you. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass wants to know. I will eat your ass first. I swear to God, if it's the last thing I do, I'm gonna get my hands around your throat.
What rolls downstairs, a motor in pairs, rolls over your neighbor's dog? What's great for a snack and fits on your back? It's long, long, long. It's long, long. It's big, it's heavy, it's wood. It's long, long. It's better than that, it's good. Everyone wants a long. You're gonna love it long. Come on and get your long. Everyone needs a long.
Log from Blammo.
Another viewer broadcast. Let's go. Yeah. How you doing, chat? How's it going? How you been? We got ourselves another great, incredible, wonderful, wild, weird, and interesting stream for you today. Golly gee, welcome to the B-Word broadcast. It is Wednesday, the 13th of December. It is Tuesday. I know what day it is. It's Tuesday, the 13th of December, and all sorts, so much news. I wasn't even going to stream today, but that's how much news has been breaking out. It is crazy. So we're going to take a closer look, and we're going to see what's going on. And yeah, it's going to be a great stream. I'm super excited. All sorts of things are happening. We've got Elon Musk banning like the trust and safety panel without even meeting with them. We've got SBF finally getting arrested by U.S. authorities like we all knew he would. He was on borrowed time, and now he done got. And yeah, it's great to see. And I got some other really strange stuff that I'm finding in literature that I'm reading. We're gonna take a closer look at the Moro machine, everybody. I know it's not in the that's the secret juicy content for later. I dipped my toe in it and it was insane. It was so funny. So we're gonna take a look at that, and we're gonna take a closer look at the House Minority Leader Mark Meadows texting people who were legit calling for a straight up martial law, and they didn't even know how to spell Marshall. Isn't that funny? Isn't it funny? So it's gonna be a good stream. I'm looking forward to it. I'm here for it. Hope you're here for it. It's gonna be some good. It's gonna be a really good show. We got some chill vibes. So we got some dancing jellies, and we got so much content lined up. We're probably gonna watch CoffeeZilla later. That might be at the end because YouTube might be troublesome. But CoffeeZilla, if you haven't heard of him, incredible YouTuber on who's been doing it for a while. I just heard about him, but he's been chasing down crypto scams, and I love these types of folk, like the anti-scammers. Truly some of the greatest content creators on the platform. I wish I could be more like them, but it's I don't know, it's a bit of a brainy job. It's a lot of work. So yeah, we're gonna blast off. I got banned off Twitter, everybody. They got me good. I told Dr. Peterson to go sit in traffic. I called him a nincompoop, a moron even, if you will. And they banned my account for 12 hours because I was threatening self-harm. I was like, bro, how are you gonna make that make sense? How you make that make sense? And it was in response to him saying something pretty disgustingly callous and cruel. If I remember, it was like a flood zone. Like someone recording a bunch of people who were being flooded and because of climate change. And his response was like, they're only doing this so they can whip up propaganda for the climate change alarmists. And I'm like, what the fuck? How could you? That's crazy, man. That's a crazy thing to say. But yeah, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna go see the top story, which will be politics, baby. We're gonna take a look at what Mark Meadows has been up to, and it's gonna be interesting. So I'm blasting off on Facebook, not Twitter. I'm not gonna suggest you follow me on Facebook, because I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't want to grow my Facebook. I'm like ready to get off it ASAP. And Twitter is also going the way of the dinosaur, which really sucks. I don't really know what social media. I don't want to go to Mastodon. What the hell is Mastodon? Like, it just seems so nerdy that it won't have mass appeal. So I don't know what to do. So right now we posted on Facebook of all places. And yeah, we're gonna go to our first story. I think this is a huge deal. I think this is absolutely incredible. And it is wow, this is a big story. Okay, Talking Points memo. This is an exclusive. I can't believe, I'm so shocked by this story. I'm really interested. The whole January 6th thing is fascinating, especially since like they're behaving guilty. So yeah, let's go take a look at this story. It's a big one. All right, here we are. So this is from Talking Points Meadows. They're calling it the Meadows texts, which I guess is appropriate. He's gonna go down in history. It's awesome. I hope Mark Meadows, it becomes synonymous with with Quisling, with someone who has just got so little spine. They can't even stand up to the tyranny they know that their compatriots are wielding or about to unleash. All right. So here we go. Mark Meadows exchanged texts with 34 members of Congress about plans to overturn the 2020 election. The messages included battle cries, crackpot legal theories, and invoking martial law. Spelt wrong. Twice. It's the second time. Marjorie Taylor Greene spelled this wrong, and I think it's some, I don't know, I can't remember who exactly wrote this, but we're gonna find out. By Hunter Walker, Josh Kovensky, and Emily Usel on the byline. Published yesterday. Right at 5:30. Let me know if there's anything I can do to fight these MFers in PA. Our president is Stark. Fight the one. Fight for the one person who has changed this country. Mark, when we lose Trump, we lose our republic. Fight like hell and find a way. Like these jokers, man. There's Paul Gosar. There's oh, that shitheel. White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows exchanged text messages with at least 34 Republican members of Congress as they plotted to overturn President Trump's loss in the 2020 election. Ooh, this is juicy, juicy, juicy stuff. Those messages are being fully, publicly documented here for the first time. The texts are part of a trove Meadows turned over to the House Select Committee investigating the January 6th attack that was attained by TPM. For more info about the story behind the text log and our procedures for publishing the messages, read the introduction to this series. Meadows' exchanges shed new light on the extent of congressional involvement in Trump's efforts to spread baseless conspiracy theories about his defeat and his attempts to reverse it. The messages document the role members played in the campaign to subvert the election as it was conceived, built, and reached its violent climax on January 6th, 2021. The texts are rife with links to far-right websites, questionable legal theories, violent rhetoric, and advocacy for authoritarian power grabs. Our one message identified as coming from Representative Ralph Norman from South Carolina to Meadows on January 17, 2021, 3 days before Joe Biden was set to take office, is a raw distillation of the various themes in the congressional correspondence. In the text, despite a typo, Norman seemed to be proposing a dramatic last-ditch plan, having Trump impose martial law during his final hours in office. From Ralph Norman, quote, Mark, in seeing what's happening so quickly, and reading about the Dominion lawsuits attempting to stop any meaningful investigation, we're at a point of no return in saving our republic. Our last hope is invoking martial law, spelled wrong. All caps, please urge to president to do so. These people are like barely literate. It's insane. The text, which has not been previously been reported, is a particularly vivid example of how congressional opposition to Biden's election was underpinned by paranoid and debunked conspiracy theories like those about Dominion voting machines. Norman's text also showed the potentially violent lengths to which some congressional Republicans were willing to go in order to keep Trump in power. The log Meadows provided to the Select Committee does not include a response to Norman's message. Reached via cell phone on Monday morning, Norman asked TPM for a chance to review his messages before commenting. Quote, it's been 2 years, Norman said. Send that text to me and I'll take a look at it. TPM forwarded Norman a copy of the message calling for martial law. We did not receive any further response from the congressman. Ooh, that's not a good look, Sweaty. That's not a good look. Oh my god, beautiful. Absolutely chef's kiss. All right, moving on. Based on TPM's analysis, Meadows received at least 364 messages from Republican members of Congress who discussed attempts to reverse the election results with him. He sent at least 95 messages of his own. The committee did not respond to replies to requests for comment. Some of Meadows' texts, notably with Fox News personalities and a couple members of Congress, have already been made public by the committee, media outlets, and in the book, The Breach. However, the full scope of his engagement with congressional Republicans as they work to overturn the election has not previously been revealed. Meadows' text log shows what the scheme to reverse the election results look like behind the scenes, revealing new details about which members of Congress helped spearhead the efforts and the strategies they deployed. The members who messaged Meadows about challenging the election included some of the highest profile figures on the right flank in Congress, such as Senator Ted Cruz, Representative Jim Jordan, and Representative Mo Brooks, all of whom identified as playing leading roles in the effort to undo Trump's defeat. One message that was dated December 30th, 2020, and was identified as coming from Trump campaign advisor Jason Miller, described Brooks as a ringleader of the effort to block the electoral certification. Ryko them right now. This is a criminal conspiracy. FBI. FBI, that's the tweet right there. That's the text. Quote from Jason Miller, FYI. So I asked Ali Pardo from our press shop to get in touch with Rep. Mo Brooks' office since he seems to be the ringleader on the January 6th deal. Oh no. Oh, why would you? Is you taking notes on a criminal conspiracy? They say they will have as many as 50 members on board January 6th. Wow, that sounds almost like you're planning it in advance. But we won't have a list of names until Sunday or Monday. This may not surprise you, but no one from the legal team has made contact with them at all. They request examples of fraud, numbers, names, whatever supporting evidence can be provided. We've now supplied that, but our legal squad isn't exactly buttoned up. Oof. I bring this up for a simple reason. If we're hoping to move real numbers on the 6th, I think we need to quickly start mobilizing our real deal allies. I'm ready to go. I have bodies to help. We'll follow your lead. Mark Meadows says, thanks, Jason. You are the best. Thanks, bestie. I'll bring it up with POTUS, and I plan to meet with them on Saturday. Miller declined to comment on the story. The one where he's describing Mark Meadows as a ringleader in the lead up to... I really want to know, was this one message that was dated December 30th? A week before January 6th, Jason Miller is calling Mo Brooks the ringleader. Ryko him right away. Straight to jail. Like, come on. You've got them describing themselves as ringleaders for January 6th. And you got some of them, Ralph Norman, demanding for martial law. Looks like a coup to me. Looks like a coup. Smells like a coup. Walks like a coup. It's probably a coup. Brooks, who spoke with TPM on Monday morning, agreed that he played a leading part in the objection. The congressman, who is set to leave office when the next term begins on January 3rd, 2023, almost a 2-year anniversary, suggested his case for objecting to the election result was based on a bipartisan 2005 report co-authored by former President Jimmy Carter and James Baker III, who served in multiple Republican administrations. Quote, there are a number of different people who took leadership roles, Brooks said of the election challenge, adding, quote, I was certainly the leader with respect to the arguments that centered on arguments related to the 2005 report and on non-citizen voting. That's their fig leaf. Jimmy Carter. While the Carter-Baker report identified risks for potential fraud and instances where there was some malfeasance, it also concluded that, quote, there is no evidence of extensive fraud in the U.S. election. Oh, so that's your citation? Did you think journalists wouldn't read it? Are you hoping, Mo Brooks, that people would not actually read the report that you cited? This is like real dog ate my homework stuff. Nevertheless, the document has since been exaggerated and mischaracterized by Trump and others to justify election-related conspiracy theories. Nevertheless, Brooks argued the Carter-Baker report and other prior studies showed massive voter fraud and suggested anyone who is not familiar with the reasoning behind those conclusions was unqualified to discuss American elections. Quote, that's like claiming you're a Christian but you don't read the Bible, Brooks said. When pressed on conclusions from experts and from Trump-appointed officials that there was no significant fraud in the 2020 election, Brooks hung up the phone. He rage quit. He's like, yeah, but our experts and your officials that you appointed on your team say there is no fraud. So what do you say to that? And Mo Brooks just hangs up. Wow. Okay. All right. That sounds legit. Based on the log, Some of the election objectors saw themselves as participating in an epic battle. Representative Brian Babin of Texas sent at least 21 messages to Meadows and received at least 4 responses. On November 6th, he dramatically urged Meadows to refuse to give up. Quote, Brian Babin, Mark, when we lose Trump, we lose our republic. Fight like hell and find a way. We're with you down here in Texas and refuse to live under a corrupt Marxist dictatorship. Liberty. Babin. He signed his text. Your Honor, someone else had control of my phone at the time that text was sent. And they signed it, Babin? Yes, Your Honor. Babin and his office did not respond to requests for comment. I get the feeling that, these aren't, the most honest people. Liberty! Freedom! We don't go and get ourselves some freedom. I'm gonna get me some freedom first. And then I'm gonna get me a side of liberty. Maybe some justice. Meadows' messages also provide an indication of the support the election objection received from right-wing dark money groups. The text log shows how the Republican efforts to fight the electoral certification at the Capitol became more organized and gained steam in the days after Biden's victory. On November 9th, Edward Corrigan, the president and CEO of the Conservative Partnership Institute, wrote Meadows to say, Senator Mike Lee would be holding a meeting about legal strategies with his colleagues at the organization's Capitol Hill townhouse. I'm actually going to try something here. I'm going to try swapping my windows here. Let's see here. Yeah, that should be better. Meadows' messages also provide an indication of the support the election objection received from right-wing dark money groups. Did I just read this? Yeah, I just read this. Mike Lee would be holding a meeting about legal strategies with his colleagues at the organization's Capitol Hill townhouse. Quote, Mike Lee has about a dozen senators coming over to CPI tonight, and they wanted to hear from a legal expert on what's going on with the campaign, Corrigan wrote. Any suggestions? Who would be good for that? CPI, which would go on to employ Meadows after Trump left office. Always a good sign. It's a dark money group that has been described by NPR as, quote, among the most powerful messaging forces in the MAGA universe. It hosted meetings for the far-right House Freedom Caucus and, according to Meadows' log, served as something of a headquarters for members of Congress working to overturn the election. Corrigan did not respond to a request for comment. In addition to Lee's meeting, Babin sent a text to Meadows in late December 2020 describing plans for an objector meeting at CPI. Did they put it in their calendar? I hope they didn't put it in their calendar. Babin was apparently concerned other members of Congress could try to thwart the efforts to object to the electoral certification and seemingly hoped former Vice President Mike Pence, who Trump and many of his allies felt had the power to certify alternate slates of pro-Trump electors, was on their side. So this guy's like, we got Vice President Mike Pence, he's gonna do the dirt, but I'm worried somebody's gonna scuttle the plan to overturn the election. Quote, Mark, looks like objectors will be meeting this Saturday, 6 p.m. at the CPI facility. We would like to have you there. BPS. Probably need to keep our ears open to any machinations by Senate Dems and Republicans who want to change rules. Would you reach out to the VP and see if he will help prevent that? Man, almost like a seditious conspiracy. Wow. Gosh. Sent a text in late December 2020. So as we're getting to December 30th, during Christmas, this is what they're doing during Christmas. This is what the Christians were doing. They're not spending time with their family, they're plotting to overthrow the US government. Yo! Man, that's weird. Why you do that? Why you do that? I don't understand. It's Christmas. You should be off the internet, spending time with your family, and maybe eating a little too much. Maybe drinking just or smoking just a bit too much, or cutting that stuff out of your life, like resetting and like returning to sobriety or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you're not supposed to be. Okay. All right. Many of the Republican efforts to overturn the election played out in the public eye. During the period between the election and January 6th, multiple Republican members of Congress participated in rallies where they amplified violent rhetoric and spread false claims of fraud to question the results. The attack on the Capitol interrupted the electoral certification, but it continued that evening, and 147 Republicans still voted to overturn the results as they were surrounded by National Guard troops and broken glass. What a great moment in American history. What a great moment. Truly the most unhinged thing. While some of the more than 450 texts that Republican members of Congress exchanged with Meadows indicate they were disturbed by the violence of January 6th, I guess they didn't realize that a bloody coup would involve blood, you know what I mean? The messages also show in colorful detail how the same members of Congress played a direct role in ratcheting up opposition to the election result and in stoking Trump's baseless claims of fraud. Officials at every level of government, including Republicans and members of the Trump admin, have confirmed there was no widespread fraud in the 2020 election. Based on Meadows' text log, overheated battle cries began streaming into his phone as the votes were still being counted on Election Day, November 3rd, 2020. Text the committee identified as coming from members of Congress declared, quote, "Our Trump team is kicking ass today again. Fight until hell freezes over, then fight them on the ice." I bet they felt so cool texting that out. "We gotta fight like hell. Fight until hell freezes over, then fight them on the ice." That just sounds like something you say before a hockey match. On November 4th, 2020, the day after the election, Representative Billy Long wrote Meadows claiming he was personally aware of 2 instances of alleged fraud where people voted twice in Nevada. Based on this claim, he urged Meadows to push for a review of the race in that key state. "I know of at least 2 people who told me they mailed in their ballots and voted in person, so you can tell them they might be interested in going over all votes in Nevada," Long wrote. "Okay," Meadows replied. Long did not respond to a request for comment. On the evening of November 4th, so this is 2 whole months before the coup, on the evening of November 4th, 2020, Representative Warren Davidson of Ohio wrote Meadows to suggest, quote, "John James should lead the challenge in Michigan," an apparent reference to the 2020 GOP nominee for Senate in that state who would go on to lose his race after disputing the results without providing evidence. Last month, James won election to represent Michigan's 10th House District. James, who at the time was baselessly claiming, quote, "There's enough credible evidence to warrant an investigation" into the election in Michigan, did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Davidson did not respond to a request for comment either. Shortly after the message from Davidson, the log contained one identified as coming from Representative Mike Kelly of Pennsylvania, who offered a profane description of his support for the suits against the results in his home state. Meadows responded, indicating he appreciated Kelly's work. Quote, from Mike Kelly, "We're in Philadelphia suing Pennsylvania's Secretary of State for her illegal meddling in this election and will continue to expose fraudulent actions. Let me know if there's anything I can do to fight these MFers in Pennsylvania. Our president is heroic. Thank you for all you've done, and please let the president know just how much he's loved and appreciated in Pennsylvania. Sincerely, Mike Kelly." Why are they signing all of their text? It's a text. Why are you doing that? And then he says, "Thanks, Mike." No. Is you taking notes on a criminal conspiracy? Why are you signing your... It's like the, what's it? The guy who's made it to the Capitol? Devin is inside the Capitol. What's it? Devin is... recording this crime spree is the greatest idea we've ever had. Oh, man, can I find it? Oh, I might not be able to. Okay, I might not be able to find it. There's so much footage. But yeah, why are they signing their tweets like months before they try to do the dirt? It's just insane. This is insane. Not only did they do it in public, and we all got to watch it play out on Twitter and Facebook and other social media platforms, but they're also texting each other privately and then making sure to anyone who might be investigating this criminally that nobody else had control of their phones and that they were absolutely doing it and were aware that they were doing it, that there was intention. This is mens rea. This is really bad. This is really bad. Kelly did not respond to her request for comment. Yeah, I wonder why. President Joe Biden wouldn't ultimately be declared the winner of the election by major media outlets until November 7th, 2020. In the 4 days between the election and the projection of Biden's win, votes were being counted in key battleground states. On November 5th, as the numbers began to look bleak for Trump, congressional Republicans wrote Meadows with offers to help fight against the results. Among them was Representative Chip Roy from Texas, who said, quote, "We have no tools, data, information to go out and fight RE election/fraud. If you need or want it, we all need to know what's going on," end quote. "Thanks so much. Working on it for surrogates briefing," Meadows replied, indicating the Trump team was preparing to help organize congressional opposition to the vote. Later that same day, Babin also suggested he and his colleagues were eager to prevent Trump's impending loss. Without evidence, he described it as a theft and indicated GOP leadership was trying to focus on their election victories rather than Trump's defeat. From Brian Babin, quote, Dear Mark, many of us as Republican House members want to help the president in any way we can to prevent the outright theft of this presidential election. So far, I've only heard our leadership talk about us picking up 5 new diverse members while the presidency is at stake. We need some guidance as to what we should be saying and doing. Please let some of us know what you would suggest. An earnest prayer for POTUS and our republic, Brian Babin. Why are they signing their tweets? It's not even a tweet, it's a text. I'm pretty sure he knows who you are. Absolutely wild. This is real boomer energy. Brian Babin. Oh, I misspelled my name. The text messages show Republican members of Congress strategizing in real time to reverse the results. Senator Kevin Cramer of North Dakota piped in with an offer to, quote, put some cash together for the defense fund. In a conversation with TPM on Monday, Cramer confirmed he offered to help with the defense fund. However, he said the conversation did not go anywhere. Yeah, okay. Quote, what I recall is I probably did offer to help if they were raising money for a defense fund or something, Cramer explained. I never got a response, he said. Cramer, who ultimately was not among the 147 Republicans who objected to the electoral certification, also said all of his messages were, quote, proper and efforts to, quote, be helpful to friends in the White House. Okay. He might have thinly saved his reputation. Quote, none of the texts from me are condemning in any way other than to just try to get all the information again. Be as helpful as you can, Cramer said. Not Brian Babin. Brian Babin's a loony. Yeah, put some cash together for the defense fund. And defense fund sounds like the legal cases, so I can see how he has a fig leaf. I can see how there's a fig leaf there. Other members of Congress sent Meadows questionable legal theories and wildly undemocratic plans to have the vote overturned at the state level. Representative Mark Green of Tennessee pointed to a segment on the far-right cable network Newsmax, where the political operative Dick Morris argued Republican state legislatures had the power to, quote, declare Trump the winner based on unproven allegations of fraud. Quote from Mark Green, Dick Morris is saying state legislature can intervene and declare Trump winner. NC, this is gonna be North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin all have GOP legislature. Hey, this sounds remarkably similar to the loony legal case that is before SCOTUS right now that might overturn the constitutional order in America. Bye-bye federalism, woo-wee. And then citation to a Newsmax article. Oh God. This is gonna mess with my algorithms. State legislatures can declare Trump winner. Yeah, this is like a conspiracy theory. Oh my goodness. This is bad, man. The text log does not include responses from Meadows to these texts from Babin, Cramer, and Green. Interesting. Okay. Green's communications director, Rochelle Del Guidiz, I'm pronouncing that wrong. I feel like I'm pronouncing that wrong, provided a statement to TPM that suggested his ideas came from people in his district rather than the congressman himself. Quote, Congressman Green was passing along what constituents were sending him to keep the White House informed on the sentiments of his constituents. Del Guidice said he wasn't advocating for any specific course of action. The next day, you could see the rats scurrying, eh? They're like, oh no, uh-oh, oh no, uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. Oopsie, stinky. Okay, I'll stop. The next day, Representative Greg Murphy of North Carolina sent Meadows a couple of texts with another version of the state legislature strategy gleaned from the far-right website Revolver, never even heard of this, which is run by Darren Beattie, a former Trump White House speechwriter who was fired from that post in August 2018 after it was revealed he participated in a 2016 conference with a high-profile white nationalist. Period. Murphy's text was largely copied and pasted from a Revolver article that claimed, I am not actually going to click that link, quote, the vote has been hopelessly contaminated. Republican state legislatures must now move to appoint pro-Trump electors. Why are you capitalizing every single word in this? In English, has been, must now, to, you see, you did it for two, but not for all the other ones. Like, what are you doing? You're screaming at me. Quote, why are we not pursuing this strategy? Murphy asked before sharing text from the Revolver article and adding, quote, please pay close attention to the very last paragraph. Oh God, the text logs did not include any response from Meadows. Murphy did not respond to a request for comment. Surprise, surprise. Sensing a pattern? On November 7th, shortly after news outlets called the election for Biden, Norman sent a message encouraging Meadows to set up a, quote, game plan and, all caps, fight. From Rough Norman, quote, guys, if there was ever a time to stand with our leader who has strengthened our military, stood for life of the unborn, supported Israel, built the wall, appointing conservative judges, actor, and we lay down and abandon them just because the biased media has called the election, now's the time to fight and advocate for a recount in Georgia, Arizona, Pennsylvania. What our delegation is doing in South Carolina is gathering on the State House steps on Tuesday to advocate for standing with our president and other arguments options that are at our disposal. For anyone willing to discuss our game plan, let me or anyone else know, and let's get on the conference call with concrete plans of action. I'll go anywhere, anytime to help our cause. Bottom line, it's time we fight for the one person who has changed this country. Way too soon to give in now. Yeah, that's a battle cry. That's a pep talk. You have got to like steal people. You've got to get them excited to do bad things, you know, like to do very bad things, you know, like you have to go hard in the paint if you're trying to do, you know, if you're trying to overthrow the most powerful government on the planet. As Trump's allies were trying to come up with a plan on Capitol Hill, far-right activists were also gathering to protest the election around the country. The text log... Oh, why are my jellies frozen? Hey, come back. Sorry. As Trump's allies were trying to come up with a plan on Capitol Hill, far-right activists were also gathering to protest the election around the country. The text log shows Meadows was in communication with Amy Creamer, who organized a March for Trump bus tour and ultimately helped plan the January 6, 2020 rally on the White House ellipse, where the former president spoke and urged the crowd to fight like hell before many of them marched to the Capitol as it was being stormed. Convince people it's for a greater good and people do evil shit? Yeah. Hey Max, how you doing? Good morning. Good morning. How you doing? We doing the news. This is a crazy story though. It is absolutely insane. It is a crazy story. Because so much of the fighting I've been doing with like conservative people has been like it was just a you know, just a protest. It wasn't planned. And then we get all these texts. Oh, it looks like it was planned months in advance. Months in advance. Also, Denims is blowing up. It's good to see her on the blow up. She's like doubled in viewers in the past couple months. It's so cool. It's awesome. It's great. School kicked my ass, so I didn't have any time to like even watch streams, much less do streams. I like disappeared for a month because just getting my teeth kicked in. But a lot of cool stuff is on the horizon. I'm hoping to try to grow the channel. Yeah, no, it sounds like she found her vibe and She found her rhythm. I'm really happy for her. It's awesome. It's great to see. Okay, where were we? Messages in the log also highlight how Republican members of Congress were participating in a series of pre-January 6th election protests around the country. On the afternoon of November 7th, Kevin Brady of Texas wrote Meadows to let him know that he had spoken at a Defend the President rally in his home state. Quote, "Ask the crowd to cheer for our president. They are still in the fight," Brady wrote. "I'll pass it to POTUS. Thank you and thank them," Meadows replied. I have to give Meadows like a metrosexual voice. He doesn't get a rugged southerner voice. Cool. I was missing morning stream for a minute there with you. Aw, sweet. Yeah, I'm starting to get my flow. I think I'm starting to find like a proper flow. I know what my segments are. Yeah. I still the real fun thing that I'm super excited about is Poet TV over on caffeine.tv. This totally different platform, brand new. It's shaky, but it's doing something. But we did this really crazy show that got like 500 views. It's doing good. It's getting numbers. And it was like American Idol, but for poetry. It's adorable. It's adorable. I can't wait to make another one. So yeah, we're trying to like come up with a bunch of poetry content. Yeah, poets. Poets are entertaining, usually. A spokesperson for Brady provided a statement to TPM that suggested he was simply trying to be helpful and encouraging. Oh.
Less than 3.
Thanks, Max. I appreciate you. I think that alert was a bit too quiet. I think that alert was too quiet. Did you catch the joke? Let me see if I can fix that. I had to like turn down a bunch of... Oh, bro, public loser. Oh my goodness. How are you doing? Oh, you're such a sweetie. My goodness. I was just wondering how you're doing. You did not. Oh, okay. Hey, oh geez, golly gee. Hey everyone, how you doing? How was the rest of your stream? Did you finish your run in Cult of the Lamb? We're going through this insane, incredible, wild, weird, wonderful story. Also, golly gee, if you don't know Public Loser is one of the real ones on Twitch. What a sweetie pie. And I really enjoy spending my mornings listening to Public Loser and like, you know, checking out the stream. I gotta spend more time in there, to be honest. As soon as I'm done school. Oh, I can't wait to be done school. But yeah, my raid's not working. My alerts are quiet, but we got good content over here. We're doing fun things. We're checking out about how the January 6th insurrection was planned. That there were texts calling for martial law that was spelled wrong. She, they, got you. I wasn't even thinking of that, to be honest. But yeah, I got you. Public Loser goes by she, they. We love trans folk here. Trans rights is human rights, and I want to make that as as true a message as possible in every society. Canada, we kind of have some pockets of slightly friendly cities, but it's a tough thing. It's a tough. Yeah, you sort of like retreat to like what you're super secure about. Yeah, I get that. No, never. I think you are speaking your piece coming from a place of love and understanding, and there's like ideological gaps, and I'm kind of in the middle, right? Like I understand, but I'm not totally, like I'm not changing my gender or public about it, and so like I'm like sort of that step away, and so I can talk to the people who are a further step away, even if they're left, and like try, and it's tough because there's stuff coming out of my mouth and I'm like, I have to commit to this argument or else like we're not gonna get anywhere. When people get angry over hearing criticism on it, yeah, absolutely. Like I'll always take criticism and assume it's coming from a place of love. But yeah, welcome to the stream. We're gonna be covering the news. We got some goofy stuff later. We got the moral machine, which is gonna be, yeah, it's too close to home. I normally wouldn't, but we were not communicating well on Twitter, and talking it out was more constructive. So that was how that played out, and it took 2 to 3 hours to find some sensibility. But yeah, hey, thanks. Hey, how you doing, hey Letty? How you doing? I'm awfully quiet. You're awfully quiet. I can't even hear you at all. I can turn up my sound easily. I got a whole setup. I'm just trying to balance it a bit. We're looking at this story from Mark Meadows. Elon Musk has disbanded trust and safety. And yeah, thank you so much, Public Loser. See, I always love taking advice. You can always advise me. And SBF, oh, it's Eletian. Okay. Or Aiden. I like Aiden. But I can read Eletian. Eletian? That's a beautiful name. Yeah, beautiful. Lovely. Yeah, no, so much gay special treatment to fucking libs of Tik. Yeah, I just got banned off of Twitter because Dr. Peterson said one of the most callous things I've said. Flood victims, and he's like, now you can help support the narrative of climate alarmism. And I told him to sit in traffic, that he's a moron and a nincompoop, and I got banned for 12 hours because I was advocating self-harm somehow. I was like, how? yeah, I find it really funny. This is going to be a pretty quiet stream if you hadn't rated, because most of my like advertising happens through Twitter. I gotta stop beefing on people with Twitter because it's like threatening my streams. But all right, we're gonna get through this Meadows content, I swear. We're halfway through. No, oh my god, he's pissing me off so hard. Him and the whole Elon Musk thing, like the whole like right-wing slant to Twitter now is driving me nuts. My content is rife with the conservative content. It's like, this used to make me laugh. Now it just makes me angry. Why you do this? Honestly, I think some of the violent statements are way overblown. Yeah, he needs to stick in his lane. Every time I see anything from him, I'm just like, stick in your lane. Please stick in your lane. Stick in your lane, please. Okay, so far in this story, we have heard in November, and December, end of December, Republicans are texting each other, we gotta go to war. This is it, brother. We gotta defend our champion, Trump. We gotta do martial law. Like, it's bad, man. Like, we've covered several texts, and they're all signing their text, so you know it's them. They can't even say someone took my phone. I don't think it's trying to convince people to Roblox themselves. If you make a stupid KYS statement, it's annoying, but just a simple response, bad whatevs. Yeah, I know. I'm like, I'm just gonna tone it down. I'm just gonna like stop engaging with conservatives unless it's like proper conversation. We brought notes, you know, kind of thing. He doesn't even understand Heidegger, and he's talking about philosophy. Yeah, there's no real bar for philosophers, I'm sorry to say. Like, there's a high ceiling, but there's no, like, floor. You know what I mean? Anybody can be a philosopher if you try hard enough. That's, it is known. Okay, this is where we were. We're talking about a tweet. Peeps need to realize saying, I don't know is a valid answer. Yo, preach. I mean, this is one of my favorite things to say. Especially when I've had debates where it just grinds to a halt because the person's like, what do you mean you don't know? They're just like, I don't know. I'm sorry. This is my limit. I have hit the limit of what I know. I'm sorry. And it sometimes goes over really poorly. Like, how dare you? That's always really fun. Okay, so ask the crowd to cheer for a president. They're still in the fight, Brady Rhodes. This is a representative who like went and like did a rally and it's like, yeah, exactly, Public Loser. Like, if you don't know what you don't know, how do you know what you know? Right? Or the famous Donald Rumsfeld quote, which is the only time I'll quote Rumsfeld, and I'm sure he stole it from somewhere, but it's like, there's what you know, what you know you don't know, and what you don't know you don't know. The unknown unknowns. Those are the real problems. Yeah. Constant info, an endless barrel of shit. Yeah, no, feed me. I'm noticing that especially with like I Show Speed or like the younger generation that like is just yelling. And it's like, this is entertaining, but like, wow, this is very different content. This is very different content. Just like, alpha, I guess. All right, let's focus on the politics because there's better stories after this. And I really want to get to the moral machine and see how moral my chat is. I'm gonna see how truly good and honest and true you all are. Okay, cool. On the fourth day after the election, before all votes had been reported and prior to the later election contest strategy by the Trump campaign, Congressman Brady sent Mr. Meadows a photo of a local rally for the president and a single general inquiry on how he might help. There was no response from Mr. Meadows, the spokesperson said. Brady's spokesperson also emphasized that he was not one of the 147 Republicans who objected to the election results. This is like the part that it wasn't me though. I didn't say overturn the election. I swear it wasn't me. The more you learn about a topic, the more you understand how small a bit you grasp. Yeah, absolutely. The part that I always try to drill home to anyone who's willing to listen is like, I've spent all my time learning about education. I feel like it's the only thing I can talk confidently about, and only in certain areas of education, based specifically on like whether I've written a paper on that subject or not and read like a dozen academic articles, because it's always like this complex map that you're trying to, you know, paint, and that's why it's always really funny to watch someone stray out of their lane. They're like, what are you doing? You don't know what you're talking about. I need to do some prep stuff because I'm gonna make oatmeal and fry some sausages. Ooh, okay. Enjoy your breakfast. Thanks again for the raid. I'll be around back probably tomorrow morning. I like that you're awake earlier than me because I can like watch you as I set up, and if I'm not watching, it's just because I'm like late to my own stream, like eating food. So I could get there earlier. Okay, bye now. Bye. Have a lovely day. I'll see you later. Oh, that's good to hear. Yeah, I might have to go even after my start stream at like 7 if I start work at 9, but we'll see how that plays out in January. Please, employer, don't ruin my Twitch stream schedule. I don't egotistic. I don't know, you used the word I there. Sounds like an ego. Okay, conspiracy theories are a major theme of Meadows' messages with Republican members of Congress following Trump's defeat. On the evening of November 7th, Representative Ted Budd of North Carolina shared a message claiming there were links between Dominion voting systems and billionaire, you guessed it, George Soros. Anti-Semitic alert. Just less time, you can annoy her. It's funny. Dominion was a focus in many 2020 election conspiracies that were thoroughly debunked. In some messages to associates, Meadows, who expressed openness to other wild theories, indicated that the Dominion theories were too far-fetched even for him. Soros has long been a fixture of far-right conspiracy theories that blend overheated analysis of the financiers' funding of progressive causes with anti-Semitic tropes. Quote, praying for your health. FYI, Dominion Voting Systems is owned by State Street Capital, which are Carlisle Rubenstein alums. Rubenstein is a long time okay, I don't even want to say this out loud. Jeez, I hate reading this stuff. It's always got like the Charlie vibe from It's Always Sunny, like the red dots and the strings. Just like, okay guys, okay bud. And his name is Bud. Bud's message seemed to be a misspelling of Staple Street Management, a private equity firm that owns Dominion, coupled with a series of claims that there were some kind of ties between various other investors. Bud did not respond to a request for comment. Last month, Bud earned a promotion when he was elected to one of the Senate seats in his home state. He is set to take office next month. CPI, this like conservative think tank group that does the dark money, you know, you gotta have yourself a dark money group. If you're what is it like if you're anybody, if you're somebody, oh god, I can't get the joke out. CPI was not the only conservative dark money group that aided the push to overturn the election. On December 2nd, Representative Louis Gohmert, our favorite, Texas, wrote Meadows and indicated he was participating in Georgia rallies organized by Club for Growth. While those events were focused on that state's Senate runoff race, Gohmert and Green reportedly brought up the presidential race in their remarks. In his text to Meadows, Gohmert was hoping for a ride on Air Force was hoping. That's actually was hoping or hopping. In his text to Meadows, Gohmert was hoping for a ride on Air Force One or White House visit. Quote, Mark, Club for Growth wanted me to help in Georgia December 11th and 12th in their bus tour. I've also been asked to help this weekend. While I'm still trying to spur people to get real winner of Prez recognized, since without the Prez officially re-elected, we're done. Would it be possible to ride Air Force One to Georgia Saturday? I'd only need to ride down since I'd stay there longer. Also, if Prez had any time, I could drop by today. Would love to see you both. Thanks. Luke. They all sign their... Why are they all signing their texts? Why? This is the third one. It's not just like a one-off. I thought it was just the one guy, Babin. I'm like, okay, Babin's a bit of a loony. He signs his own text to somebody he has like an ongoing conversation with. It was like, Babin has sent 37 texts. Mark Meadows responded to 5 of them. And he's like signing every single one of them. Signed to Babin. Signed to Louis. Oh, okay. I almost forgot who was helping me do a seditious conspiracy. I almost forgot. OPSEC? What the hell is that? I just want to play, I can't because I'm on YouTube, but I want to play the clip from The Wire where it's, is you taking notes on a criminal conspiracy? Apparently. Yeah, apparently. This is awesome. Excuse me. Gohmert had previously texted Meadows asking to visit the White House and been rebuffed by the chief of staff. Based on the log, Meadows did not respond to his message about a ride on the presidential plane. Gohmert did not respond to a request for comment. Classic. Representative Paul Gosar of Arizona is another member of Congress who texted Meadows outlandish conspiracy theories about the election. According to the log, shortly after 11 p.m. on December 16th, 3 weeks before the insurrection, 2020, Gosar wrote in with his own completely inaccurate concerns about Dominion. Quote, when is the 45 days up? What date starts the clock? November 3rd? If it is, then that is December 18th. China bought Dominion in October for $400 million. If that's not interference, then should have a report with details and specifics that would validate that either way. And if they didn't, call me. I have some fireworks coming out of Arizona early tomorrow. Call me anytime. I'm up. Okay, he didn't sign his text at least. Oh my god. The claim made by Gosar reportedly originated with far-right conspiracy theorist, you guessed it, Alex Jones's website, InfoWars. No, the InfoWars to coup d'etat pipeline. Oh shit. Gosar also included the link to an executive order signed by Trump in 2018 that called for the Director of National Intelligence to, quote, conduct an assessment of any information indicating that a foreign government attempted to interfere with the election within 45 days of ballots being cast. Gosar also sent Meadows a link to a fringe blog called Some Bitch Told Me. I'm dead. Why? What? What is a reputable source? I'm sorry, what? And has since deleted set of files that he said showed, quote, massive fraud coming out of Arizona. That's bad. That does not look good. In total, the log shows Gosar sent Meadows 13 messages, nearly half of which came between December 16th to 17th. Oh man, the timeline is messing with me. That means from November, early November, all the way through to December 30th, we're getting texts. Meadows is texting it up. Different stages of the planning. At one point, I kid you not, they used the term ringleader. FYI. So I asked Ali Pardo from our press shop, this is from Jason Miller, who is totally a bad guy, and you should not like him. So I asked Ali Pardo from our press shop to get in touch with Representative Mo Brooks' office since he seemed to be the ringleader on the January 6th deal. Oh, why? No. It's like painful to watch. It's so painful to watch. Where are we? Another one signing their... I can't. Oh god. Oh fuck. It's so funny. Despite Gosar seemingly gleaning his assertions from InfoWars and Some Bitch Told Me, Anthony Foti, a spokesperson for the congressman, insisted, quote, at no time did he share a conspiracy theory. This is legit news, everybody. Wild. Congressman Gosar filed objections to certification from Arizona under the Electoral Count Act. Foti wrote in an email to TPN, adding, quote, his comments were based on factual occurrences. Okay. Meadows did entertain some of the conspiracy theories forwarded along by the Republican members of Congress, and in at least one case, he acted on them. Wow. On December 29th, 2020, Babin sent Meadows a link to an article from WJACTV.com. Pennsylvania Republican lawmakers analysis finds presidential election numbers don't add up is the URL. I'm gonna keep that purple for now, or red, or whatever. On December 29th, Babin sent Meadows a link to an article describing claims by Republican legislatures in Pennsylvania that the state's election results didn't add up. The article included a statement from Pennsylvania's Department of State that noted in detail how the lawmakers' claims were uninformed and called them a, quote, so-called analysis that was based on incomplete data. Nevertheless, Meadows seemed to take Babin's article seriously and indicated he sent it on to the Justice Department. Quote, yes, already forwarded it to the DOJ. So you got that on one hand, and then you got like the January 6th House Committee that just forwarded a criminal referral. They're gonna get RICO'd. They're gonna get RICO'd. This is crazy. They're gonna get slapped with seditious conspiracy, just like what's his name? Stuart Rhodes, recently convicted. On December 30th, 2020, Senator Cynthia Lummis of Wyoming, who had just been elected, wrote Meadows and suggested the debunked Pennsylvania analysis convinced her to object to the electoral certification. Quote, Dear Mark, in light of the forensic accounting report by Pennsylvania legislatures, I've reached out to Senator Josh Hawley's staff to serve as a wingman to him on January 6th. Please include me in the loop as you gain access to equally persuasive evidence from other states. Thank you, Cynthia. Why are they signing their tweet? It's not a tweet. Why are they signing their text? It's even sillier. In a text to TPM, Lummis provided an explanation for her message to Meadows. Quote, I voted against the Pennsylvania electors because Pennsylvania conducted its 2020 election in violation of its own Pennsylvania Constitution. Citation needed. Senator Hawley had publicly expressed the same concern about Pennsylvania. That explains the text to Mark Meadows, wrote Lummis. Quote, I did not vote against the Arizona electors. I do not know how Senator Hawley voted RE Arizona's electors. Hey, at least she replied to TPM. Not a good reply. Meadows' log also shows certain congressional Republicans playing key roles in the effort to overturn the election. In a December 19, 2020 message, Representative Jody Heiss claims to be leading the Georgia Electoral College objection on January 6th. In a phone call with TPM, Sarah Selip, a spokesperson for Heiss, noted he was outspoken in his opposition to the election results in his home state. Quote, our boss did lead the electoral objection for Georgia. I mean, that's just how it is, said Selip. Oh man, put it on the pile. Ted Cruz, our favorite senator. Ted Cruz, meanwhile, seems to have played a major part in heading up objections in the Senate. On January 2nd, he sent Meadows a link to a statement he released with Lummis and 9 other colleagues vowing to, quote, vote on January 6th to reject the electors from disputed states as not regularly given and lawfully certified, the statutory requisite, unless and until that emergency 10-day audit is completed. Meadows had a one-word response to Cruz. Perfect, said Meadows. I think it's worth taking a moment to just remind everyone that when they're talking about like this state elector scheme or whatever to like certify a new slate of electors, a judge referred to that idea as a coup in search of a legal theory. And it comes from John Eastman, who was White House counsel. I can't remember if he was personal or not, but he was part of the legal team on Trump. And it is bad. It is a document designed to like do the coup d'etat, and that's why all their like it's the way they're talking about it is all sort of like weirdly abstract. It's because it's coming from that document. You don't have to like think about it too hard. You just have to know that if you hear alternate electors, that it's made up. It's just like a made up thing. They just made it up. The following day, Trump campaign advisor, oh yeah, and one last piece of it was like, in the January 6th commission, we get testimony that Eastman acknowledges when pressed by other lawyers, like, you know that you would lose 9-0 in SCOTUS. Like, you know that this isn't a real thing. And Eastman's like, yeah, I'm aware of that. I'm aware that, like, this is not really legal. Okay, moving on. The following day, Trump campaign advisor Jason Miller wrote Meadows that Trump himself was pressing Georgia's senators to, quote, get on board with the Cruz effort. A spokesperson for Cruz declined to comment. Brooks wrote Meadows on December 21st, 2020 about plans to have a White House meeting regarding formulation of our January 6 strategies. Later that day, Meadows sent a message to Fox News personality Brian Kilmeade later that day indicating the meeting took place. The tweets between Sean Hannity and Michael Cohen, now this bullshit? Oh my god. Quote, the president and I met with about 15 members of Congress to discuss the evidence of voter fraud in various states, as well as discuss the strategy for making the case to the American people. Meadows wrote to the cable news host. 11 of those members, including Babin, Biggs, Gates, Gosar, Representative Andy Harris, Heiss, Jordan, Scott Perry, and Representative-elect Marjorie Taylor Greene, were later identified by the January 6th committee, citing White House visitor logs. Meadows' aide, Cassidy Hutchinson, testified that Representative Debbie Lesko of Arizona also attended the meeting. There's a little hanging parentheses. It's like the first mistake I've seen in this article. So well written. Holy cow. Almost done. As the electoral certification approached, members of Congress sent Meadows messages expressing concern and anger that some Republicans were not backing their efforts. On the evening of January 5th, the day before the failed coup d'etat, Norman wrote Meadows about House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, an interesting and funny name. Quote, Mark, I hear McCarthy is giving equal time to let those who are opposed to the challenge of the electoral votes, which is ludicrous. Trump needs to call Kevin, Norman wrote. Later that same night, Jordan presented a plan for Pence to throw out the results as he presided over the election, over the certification. This is bad. This is bad. This shows that they planned it, right? It shows that they knew that something was going to happen January 6th, and they're getting all their ducks in a row. Who's on board? Who's not? Who could scuttle the plan? Fuck. Jim Jordan texts Mark Meadows. On January 6th, 2021, hey, Barely Political, how's it going? We're almost done. We're really deep in on this explosive story from TPM about texts between Republican congressman and the House Minority Leader at the time, Mark Meadows, planning January 6th. Doing the planning. Literally calling Mo Brooks the ringleader. And signing their texts so we know it's them that did it. It's insane. It's insane. It's an exclusive. TPM rarely gets exclusives from what I understand, or at least ones that are this big. This is a big story. On January 6, this is Jim Jordan texting. On January 6, 2021, Vice President Mike Pence, as President of the Senate, should call out all electoral votes that he believes are unconstitutional as no electoral votes at all, in accordance with guidance from Founding Father Alexander Hamilton and judicial precedents. There's no judicial precedents. John Eastman already knew he would lose 9-0 on the Supreme Court. So shut the fuck up. No legislative act, wrote Alexander Hamilton in Federalist number 78, contrary to the Constitution, can be valid. Okay. The court in Hubbard v. Lowe reinforced this truth, that an unconstitutional statute is not a law at all, is a proposition no longer open to discussion. He's citing case law, but he clearly isn't. He's missing a lot of context here. Following this rationale, an unconstitutionally appointed elector, like an unconstitutionally enacted statute, is no longer an elector, is no elector at all. Wonder how much they paid for it? From what I understand, they might have gotten this from the House Select Committee. It just might be that they mined what became recently public and put together a story before anyone else could. Like, that's one way of reading it. But I don't know how journalism works. I've never really worked inside of a news agency. Trump would later rage at Pence for not taking this approach. Meadows responded to Jordan on the morning of January 6th, indicating the vice president was not on board. This is a key piece on the chessboard. Quote, I have pushed for this. Not sure it is going to happen, Meadows said. Jordan and his office did not respond to a request for comment. And we still have the, what was described as like the 4 scariest words or something like that. Or the 6 scariest words, or I'm not getting in that car, Mike Pence saying to like the Secret Service who wanted to whisk him away from the Capitol. Like, whoo, what did he know? In the wake of the attack on the Capitol, some members wrote to Meadows and offered encouragement for Trump. One of them was Representative Andrew Clyde of Georgia. On January 9th, he had an idea for Trump to return to social media after he was banned from Twitter, like me, and Facebook for his part in fomenting the violence. Oh no, I didn't get banned for fomenting violence. I got banned for telling Dr. Peterson to go sit in traffic. Worth it. Andrew Clyde. Quote, Mark, this is Representative. Stop! Why are they signing their texts? He's signing his text at the beginning. Oh god. This is weird. This is the 5th person. Do you sign your text, chat? Have you ever signed a text ever in your life? I don't think I've ever done this. I wouldn't even have a... I think I've seen other people do it, but they're like... Comme bien âgé, like very old. Mark, this is Representative Andrew Clyde of Georgia. 09. Okay, good. So it definitely is this person who's holding the phone at the moment this text is sent on January 6th, is it? Jesus. Oh no, January 9th. I would like to pass the POTUS that we are still with him. I believe in him and I want to encourage him. I'll do my best to continue to fight for election integrity too. Jody Hayes suggests that this is a good way to reach President Trump with encouragement. I truly hope he does create a new platform to complete with Twitter, and I hope he calls it Trumpet. And then we can send out notes to each other. Jennifer and I pray for POTUS daily and float us through. Oh man, this is bad. This is cringe. It's like, maybe Trump will notice me if I text Mark Meadows my marketing and branding ideas for social media. No, they went with Truth Social. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Trumpet was better. Pretty sure he's right. That's an incredible name. I'm wondering, and someone else has it. Great name, absolutely incredible name. Obviously way better. But I'm sorry, you're just not in on the group. As ever, Meadows was on board with the plan. I will share it with him, Meadows said. Thanks, Andrew. Oh, but it's called Truth Social. I don't think, I think this is the end of it. Yeah, this is the end of it. This is the list of people. This was a crazy story. It was long. It was detailed. Some of those tweets and texts were absolutely insane. But, there we have it. I no longer have to argue with right-wing conservatives about whether January 6th was planned or not. I no longer have to say they made t-shirts as like my gotcha, because that's not the best evidence. Text between the House Minority Leader and like Republican members who are organizing rallies in their local districts, offering ideas on how to improve the social media. Like this is not good stuff. This we found the Twitter files, everybody. all right, let's move on to the next story. What do we got here? So we've got Elon Musk disbanding its Trust and Safety Advisory Group, which is, yeah, we got a couple. Oh, and just to finish off that last piece, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Capitol attack would have been armed if I was in charge. Do we have the, there should actually be a clip. There should be a clip of this. Marjorie Taylor Greene just being like, yeah, man. Yeah, we would have been way more violent. I mean, one of the parts that, like, I had to, one of the parts of January 6th that I just recently learned through the Daily New York Times is that Stuart Rhodes and all the Proud Boy members who were, like, on standby waiting for the word, like, they had stashed a bunch of guns. And so, like, when Stuart Rhodes gets convicted of seditious conspiracy, it's very much because, like, yeah, y'all stashed guns. I don't know how else to read that. Like, you can say that's in defense, but I don't know. It smells funny, right? So here's Marjorie Taylor Greene telling crowd that if she had organized January 6th, it would have been armed. Okay, then.
Lies, conspiracies, and divisive rhetoric. It is sometimes a tough call on which ones to give oxygen to and which ones to ignore. But this morning, a sitting U.S. Congresswoman suggests that if she had been in charge of the January 6th attack on the Capitol, the crowds would have been armed and they would have, quote, won the insurrection. Speaking at an event hosted by the New York Young Republican Club, Marjorie Taylor Greene said this, watch.
It's true in that, like, when Ashley Babbitt was unalived, they were all shocked. Like, wait, what? But wait, what? What's going on? What's happening? Somebody get this person a medic. Like, so many people were there that were not, like, in on the plan, that didn't realize how severe and serious this is going to get, and just, like, randomly wandering, thinking they're at a protest, going a bit too far. Like, there's a lot of normies that got swept up in it, I'll absolutely admit. But then there's the diehards who really try to do violence, and like, yeah, it's bad news.
I come to Washington. I swear in on January 3rd. I get accused of giving insurrection tours, which I thought was hilarious because I couldn't even find the bathroom in the Capitol.
So funny. She couldn't find the bathroom.
Then January 6th happens, and next thing you know, I organize the whole
It's almost like the Capitol is a confusing place, and people might need tours in order to effectively, siege it.
thing along with Steve Bannon here. And I want to tell you something. If Steve Bannon and I had organized that, we would have won.
Oh, yeah? Cheers.
Not to mention, it would have been armed.
Man, even the party faithful in the room are like, ooh, yeah, ooh. That might be a miss for me on that one.
Yeah. See, that's the whole joke, isn't it? They say that whole thing was planned, and I'm like, are you kidding me? A bunch of conservatives, Second Amendment supporters went in the Capitol without guns, and they think that we organized that?
Oh no, MTG. They had guns, but they were waiting for the order from President Trump, and we know that he was fighting with the Secret Service at the time over control of the whatever the thing was called, the Beast, I think it was called, and like whether he was take me to the Capitol, I think is the quote, and we have someone testifying that he literally grabbed the wheel. So like it looks like if Trump had made it to the Capitol and had sent the signal to the Proud Boys, the Proud Boys would have went to get those guns that they had stashed, and very quickly this would have that's all that would have been required, right? The normies get inside the building, they trap congressmen in some area or something, Trump gets to the Capitol, he says the words, he brings in people with guns who are way more organized, ready to do proper like siege tactics and defend the Capitol from like the ensuing defense response. Like this could have gone really bad, really bad.
I don't think so.
Well, those are interesting comments, to say the least, considering how she felt during the attack. Green messaged White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, and I quote here, "Please tell the president to calm people. This is..."
Stop. We just read a bunch of texts. They're all texting Mark Meadows like, oh, we went too far. There's a bunch of months of text of them all egging it on.
Isn't the
I
way
got
to
this
solve
good
anything
article
publicly,
from the Revolver.
Of course, a different tune.
Have you heard of this blog, A Bitch Told Me?
Just a week and a half later, she pushed Meadows to stage a coup, getting the military involved so that Trump could stay in power. Quote, "In our private chat with only members, several are saying the only way to save our republic is for Trump to call for martial law." She spelled it incorrectly there. She justified that request by perpetuating the lie that led to the violence at the Capitol in the first place, writing, "They stole this election. We all know they will destroy our country next." Caitlin?
Yeah, not good.
Well, Don, let's talk about more of this with CNN's senior political analyst and author of Wingnuts.
No, that's cool. That's cool. We don't need to hear the talking heads. I just wanted to show you the clip of Marjorie Taylor Greene, saying how armed and violent she would be at a successful coup d'état. And honestly, I mean that might even be like they didn't have the brass, like they didn't have the. That's one dark reading. Is that, yeah, it looks like the conservatives just didn't know what they were doing. Like, if you're going to do a coup d'etat, you really do gotta, it's all or nothing. And right now, Peru is doing a better job at stopping its insurrectionists than America is. Okay, so let's move on to the next story, which is Elon Musk. Musk's Twitter disbands its Trust and Safety Advisory Group by Matt O'Brien and Barbara Ortute of the Associated Press. So I think this is an interesting story. Twitter is circling the drain, although I'm sure it probably has a bunch of... actually, I should check at the numbers. It's probably growing right now, knowing the internet. But all right, let's read this. Let's get some music going. Drop that bit so I don't blow your eardrums out. Elon Musk's Twitter has dissolved its Trust and Safety Council. The advisory group of around 100 independent civil, human rights, and other organizations that the company formed in 2016 to address hate speech, child exploitation, Robloxing, doing harm to yourself, and other problems on the platform. This is bad. This is bad. All the conservatives were super excited on Twitter on how much Elon Musk has done. I guess now he's got sole control over hate speech and child exploitation. The council had been scheduled to meet with Twitter representatives Monday night, but Twitter informed the group via email that it was disbanding it shortly before the meeting was to take place, according to multiple members. Talk about a cowardly move. Can't even say to people's faces that you're firing them. You gotta send a little email like a punk. The council members, who provided images of the email from Twitter to the Associated Press, spoke on the condition of anonymity due to fears of retaliation. The email said Twitter was, quote, reevaluating how best to bring external insights, and the council is, quote, not the best structure to do this. Quote, our work to make Twitter a safe, informative place will be moving faster and more aggressively than ever than ever before, and we will continue to welcome your ideas going forward about how to achieve this goal, said the email, which was signed Twitter. Your faceless, gormless corporate representative, just Twitter, is emailing you that we're taking your ideas into consideration as we disband you by email before a meeting. Yeah, it smells like bullshit to me. The volunteer group provided expertise and guidance on how Twitter could better combat hate, harassment, and other harms, but didn't have any decision-making authority. There's a similar thing like this, a similar structure in Meta right now. Like, Facebook also has like a very similar advisory council with a bunch of independent human rights, yada, 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 yada. And then they like submit reports, and then Facebook is like, yay or nay. It's better than nothing. And they were not able to review specific content disputes. Shortly after buying Twitter for $44 billion in late October, Musk said he would form a new, quote, content moderation council to help make major decisions, but later changed his mind. And there's like a hanging A for some reason. Quote, Twitter's Trust and Safety Council was a group of volunteers who over many years gave up their time when consulted by Twitter staff to offer advice on a wide range of online harms and safety issues, tweeted council member Alex Holmes. At no point was it a governing body or decision making. So yeah, there's really no reason to get rid of it, right? Why would you do that? You just lost a bunch of institutional memory. Twitter, which is based in San Francisco, had confirmed the meeting with the council Thursday in an email in which it promised an, quote, open conversation and Q&A with Twitter staff, including the new head of trust and safety, Ella Irwin. That came on the same day that 3 council members announced they were resigning in a public statement posted on Twitter that said that, quote, contrary to claims by Elon Musk, the safety and well-being of Twitter's users are on the decline. Those former council members soon became the target of online attacks after Musk amplified criticism of them and Twitter's past leadership for allegedly not doing enough to stop child sexual exploitation on the... Why would you say that? Quote, it is a crime that they refuse to take action on child X-word for years. This is bad. This is right-wing, like, agitprop. This is like when he called that, like, the diver a P-word because he thought his robot was dumb and bad and wouldn't help. Or it was like the Chilean miners or something. I can't even remember. It was like a South American country that had a bunch of people trapped. And Elon Musk, like, just calls people P-words for some reason. What the fuck? A growing number of attacks on the council led to concerns from some remaining members who sent an email to Twitter earlier on Monday demanding the company stop misrepresenting the council's role. Those false accusations by Twitter leaders were, quote, endangering current and former council members, the email said. The Trust and Safety Council, in fact, had as one of its advisory groups one that focused on child exploitation. This included the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, the Ratty Foundation, and YAKIN, or Youth, Adult, Survivors, and Kin in Need. For the former Twitter employee, Patricia Cartes, whose job it was to form the council in 2016, said Monday its dissolution, quote, means there's no more checks and balances, Cartes said. The company sought to bring a global outlook to the council, with experts from around the world who could relay concerns about how new Twitter policies or products might affect their communities. She contrasted that with Musk's current practice of surveying his Twitter followers before making a policy change affecting how content gets moderated. Quote, he doesn't really care as much about what experts think, she said. Bad news. If you care about P-word, if you're on the internet calling people groomers, you should care about this story, and you should be sharply critical of Elon Musk. I wonder if conservatives are going to criticize Musk about this. What do you think? What's the over-under on that? Meanwhile, Tesla's approval rating sinks into negative territory, survey finds. Oh no, oh no, oh no, it's minus 6% just today. It slipped into the red, a net positive. It started 2022 with a net positive score of 5.9%, then peaked in May at 6.7. In early November, it fell to a negative 1.4% reading. Get fucked. Tesla, our failure to make actual self-driving cars is not fraud. Why would you call that fraud? Are you crazy? That's wild. Weird. Why would you say that? Why you say that? I don't totally care about the story. Let's see. Tesla CEO Elon Musk has said numerous times since, right, we've got like way better videos on this. I think we all know that Tesla's kind of full of shit. I mean, they haven't had self-driving. Don't we have that like clip of Tesla like plowing through a kid? like a mannequin of a kid, I should say. Oh jeez, I should make that into an alert. Okay, I'm kind of done. We've been really covering like the Twitter files in depth because it's extremely funny. And I know that there's like one more. Do we have any appetite for the Twitter files, like part 6 or something? It's the one that Trump was banned or something like that, and we might have read it. I'll have to double check. But it was all poor and bad. Oh wait, why are you not logged in? That's weird. Yeah, the removal of Trump. Okay, we did not read this, did we? We did not. Are we excited for this? Do we want to do we'll do this and then we'll get to SBF getting arrested. Hopefully this is not too long of a thread. The thing I've found most frustrating about these Twitter files is like how poor the journalism is. Like you read something like TPM and there's no typos, there's no errors, it's extremely tight. Everything makes sense, everything flows, everything's set up very reasonably, and then you're gonna read something like this and you're just like, oh god, here we go. Okay, I'll see how far I can get. Thread, the Twitter files, part 5. The removal of Trump from Twitter. Put 1 in the chat if you've heard this already. Put 2 in the chat if you haven't. Rather than me make a poll. That's a little faster. On the morning of January 8th, President Donald Trump, with 1 remaining strike before being at risk of permanent suspension from Twitter, tweets twice. And we went through the policy discussions that resulted with him having 1 or 2 strikes left or whatever. 6:46 a.m. The 75 million great American patriots who voted for me America first and make America great again will have a giant voice long into the future. They will not be disrespected or treated unfairly in any way, shape, or form. 7:44. To all those who have asked, I will not be going to the inauguration on January 20th. For years, Twitter had resisted calls, both internal and external, to ban Trump on the grounds that blocking a world leader from the platform or removing their controversial tweets would hide important information that people should be able to see and debate. Our mission is to provide a forum that enables people to be informed and to engage their leaders directly, the company wrote in 2019. Twitter's aim was to protect the public's right to hear from their leaders and to hold them to account. But after January 6th, as Matt Taibbi and Schellenberger, MD, not actually a medical degree, have documented, pressure grew both inside and outside of Twitter to ban Trump. The problem they have with this argument is that pressure grew can also just be like organic, and that people had negative responses to a coup d'etat. Like I don't know about you, but where I come from, overthrowing the government is seen very dimly across the political aisle. There were dissenters inside Twitter. Maybe because I'm from China, said one employee on January 7th. Quote, I deeply understand how censorship can destroy the public conversation. Oh God. Anon responds, I understand this fear, but also think it's important to understand that censorship by a government is very different than censorship of the government. Oh God. The First Amendment in the US and similar legislation in other countries with similar concepts exists specifically to prevent the government from silencing people. Uh-huh. Yeah. Uh-huh. Cool story, bro. Is that what you're gonna tell yourself before you go take away everyone's right to vote and stuff? Like, is that the plan? But voices like that one appear to have been a distinct minority within the company. Golly gee, opinions can be diverse. Across Slack channels, many Twitter employees were upset that Trump hadn't been banned earlier. After January 6th, Twitter employees organized to demand their employer ban Trump. Quote, there's a lot of employee advocacy happening, said one Twitter employee. Wait, are the poorest trying to talk again? We can't be having that. Quote, we have to do the right thing and ban this account, said one staffer. Quote, it's pretty obvious he's going to try to thread the needle of incitement without violating the rules, said another. This is the argument I came back before, which is like literally children's logic. And it's like the parents say to both their kids, Tommy can't have cookies from the cookie jar. He is not allowed to have cookies. And then parents go out for dinner or whatever, and there's a babysitter, and Tommy gets his sister Janice to go get him a cookie. Now the parents come home, find the cookie jar empty, and they find Tommy with his belly full of cookies. And they go, did you take cookies from the cookie jar? And he says, no, I didn't. You think he's gonna hide behind that technicality? You think it's gonna fly? Come on, guys. Come on. Come on. This is cookie jar logic. The man is trying to overthrow the government. You do have to stop those people. You do have to do something about it. In the early afternoon of January 8th, the Washington Post published an open letter signed by over 300 Twitter employees to CEO Jack Dorsey demanding Trump's ban. Quote, we must examine Twitter's complicity in what President-elect Biden has rightly termed insurrection. And the same problem, you can just apply it to Pedro Castillo and Pedro in Peru. Like, should Twitter have just allow his media message that he's dissolved Congress, that he will rule by decree and there's now a curfew? Should they keep that on their platform? I don't know, man. I don't think so. The Twitter staff assigned to evaluate tweets quickly concluded that Twitter had not violated Twitter's policy. Quote, I think we'd have a hard time saying this is incitement, wrote one staffer. Quote, it's pretty clear he's saying the American patriots are the ones who voted for him and not the terrorists. We can call them, right? From Wednesday? I mean, they call themselves that. We are domestic terrorists was at the Republican convention. Fun. Another staffer agreed. Don't see the incitement angle here. I also am not seeing clear or coded incitement in the DJT tweet, wrote Anika Navaroli, a Twitter policy official. I'll respond in the elections channel and say that our team has assessed and find no violations. Oh, yo, cool. Thanks for following. Welcome to the stream. Forks are free. Appreciate you. You're a little weirder now. I also am not seeing clear or coded incitement in the DJT tweet. I'll respond in the elections. I found no violations for the DJT one. Okay. She does just that. Quote, as an FYI, safety has assessed the DJT tweet above and determined that there is no violation of our policies at this time. Later, Navaroli would testify to the House January 6th committee, quote, for months I've been begging and anticipating and attempting to raise the reality that if we made no intervention into what I saw occurring, people were going to die. Excuse me, I shouldn't have used that word. To not make it through the night. Oh, geez. Don't ban me, YouTube. I need this. 18. Next. Twitter's safety team decided that Trump's 7:44 a.m. tweet is also not in violation. They are unequivocal. Quote, it's a clear no viol. It's just to say he's not attending the inauguration. Okay. To understand Twitter's decision to ban Trump, we must consider how Twitter deals with other heads of state and political leaders, including in Iran, Nigeria, and Ethiopia. In June 2018, Iran's Ayatollah Ali Khamenei tweeted, #Israel is a malignant cancerous tumor in the West Asian region that has to be, oh my god. I think I remember a bunch of furor over that. Twitter neither deleted the tweet nor banned the Ayatollah. In October 2020, the former Malaysian Prime Minister said it was, quote, a right for Muslims to unalive millions of French people. Twitter deleted his tweet for glorifying violence, but he remains on the platform. The tweet below was taken from the Wayback Machine. Will not show that. Muhammadu Buhari, the president of Nigeria, incited violence against pro-Biafra groups. Quote, those of us in the fields for 30 months who went through the war, he wrote, will treat them in the language they understand. Twitter deleted the tweet but didn't ban Buhari. It's because of this hard policy problem that you covered in the Twitter files, part 3, I think, where it's like, golly gee, we have this tough problem where a head of state might be using an official account. Oh, actually, these are personal accounts. Nope. Che Det official. Comedy IR, some of these are personal. It has to do with whether it's like representative or not, like because it's like representative of the state office, the chair, you know, the position. In October 2021, Twitter allowed Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed to call on citizens to take up arms against the Tigray region. Twitter allowed the tweet to remain up and did not ban the Prime Minister. In early February 2021, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government threatened to arrest Twitter employees in India and to incarcerate them for up to 7 years after they restored hundreds of accounts that have been critical of him. Twitter did not ban Modi. Yeah, Modi's pretty scary. But Twitter executives did ban Trump, even though key staffers said that Twitter had not incited violence, not even in a coded way. So wait, you found a few who agree with you and therefore, like, is that what you're hanging your hat on? What if they're just the vocal minority? Less than 90 minutes after Twitter employees had determined that, oh, this is really, come on, you mentioned that there was a whole, like, petition. Twitter employees had determined that, okay, buddy. Okay, buddy. Vijaya Gade, Twitter's head of legal policy and trust, asked whether it could, in fact, be coded incitement to further violence. Yeah, it's almost like the top executive is going to reassess this situation. I don't want to read the citations. It's all been such boring stuff. 27, a few minutes later, Twitter employees on the, quote, scaled enforcement team suggest that Trump's tweets may have violated Twitter's glorification of violence policy if you interpreted the phrase, quote, American patriots to refer to the rioters. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Things escalate from there. Members of that team came to, quote, view him as the leader of a terrorist group responsible for violence/deaths comparable to the Christchurch shooter or Hitler. And on that basis, and on the totality of his tweets, he should be deplatformed. Based. The man knew the people in the crowd were armed when he was giving that speech before he said, let's go to the Capitol. And he had previously argued with security to get rid of the, magnetometers. This is not good. You can't do that. People in the crowd with guns. Days are coming. Okay, let's move on. My computer is struggling. Don't struggle. 2 hours later, Twitter executives host a 30-minute all-staff meeting. Jack Dorsey and Vijaya Gade answer staff questions as to why Trump wasn't banned yet, but they make some employees angrier. Quote, multiple tweets, Twitter employees, have quoted the banality of evil, suggesting that people implementing our policies are like Nazis following orders, relays Yoel Roth to a colleague. Wow, that's some very strong language. And of course, Vaush is like, didn't we already do this? Dorsey requested simpler language to explain Trump's suspension. Roth wrote, God help us, this makes me think he wants to share it publicly. 1 hour later, Twitter announces Trump's permanent suspension, quote, due to the risk of further incitement of violence. Many at Twitter are ecstatic and congratulatory. Big props to whoever in trust and safety is sitting there whack-a-moling these Trump accounts. Yeah, people take a pretty dim and aggressive view to fascism. Golly gee willikers. Who would have guessed? By the next day, employees expressed eagerness to tackle, quote, medical misinformation as soon as possible. For the longest time, Twitter's stance was that we aren't the arbiter of truth, wrote another employee, which I respected, but never gave me a warm, fuzzy feeling. But Twitter's COO, Parag Agrawal, who would later succeed Dorsey as CEO, told head of security, Mudge Zatko, quote, I think a few of us should brainstorm the ripple effects of Trump's ban. Agrawal added, quote, centralized content moderation IMO has reached a breaking point now. Outside the US, Twitter's decision to ban Trump raised alarms, including with French President Emmanuel Macron, German Prime Minister Angela Merkel and Mexico's President Andrés Manuel López Obrador. Macron told an audience he didn't, quote, want to live in a democracy where the key decisions were made by private players. Almost like maybe a billionaire buying a social media platform that's widely used across the world might have some dramatic implications for democracies. Huh. What a thought. Quote, I want it to be decided by a law voted by your representative or by regulation, governance, democratically discussed and approved by democratic leaders. Based. Merkel's spokesperson called Twitter's decision to ban Trump from its platform problematic and added that the freedom of opinion is of, quote, elementary significance. Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny criticized the ban as an, quote, unacceptable act of censorship. The part that I find so funny about this is that you posted the Twitter files talking about this pretty weak but policy-driven process where employees' opinions were taken into account to make pretty difficult time-sensitive decisions, and now you just got rid of the trust and safety board. So now there's not even an advisory board. So how is the system better now? How are all of these criticisms not more poignant, more true? Want it to be decided by a law voted by your representative? No, I'm sorry. Now it's being made by private players. Everybody got their payoff for their stock, their Twitter stocks, right? You got bought out. You can't buy Twitter stock. Not even shareholders have an opinion, everybody. You know? Whether you agree with Navalny and Macron or the executives at Twitter, we hope this latest installment of the... Is that it? Oh, no. Again. Oh, God. This is so bad. It's such bad reporting. Whether you agree with Navalny and Macron or the executives at Twitter, we hope this latest installment of the Twitter Files gave you insight into that unprecedented decision. It kind of did, I guess, sort of. From the outset, our goal in investigating this story was to discover and document the steps leading up to the banning of Trump and to put that choice into context. Ultimately, the concerns about Twitter's efforts to censor news about Hunter Biden's laptop, blacklist disfavored views, and ban a president aren't about the past choices of executives in a social media company. They're about the power of a handful of people at a private company to influence the public discourse and democracy. It's amazing, man. They're like, you're tweeting out the key criticism of a billionaire buying the platform. And then he spotlights his preferred story du jour, his preferred conspiracy theories. Fucking lol. This is what lol. Bro, who are these clowns? I want to know. Who are these clowns who are allowed to be near a microphone? Okay, well, I mean, I guess they're embarrassing themselves. Is what it is. Let's move on to the next story. I've been talking a lot this stream, so we're gonna try to find some videos so I can rest my voice. Sam Bankman-Fried has been arrested in the Bahamas. Now, if you were watching on YouTube, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna shut that down. I'm gonna say goodbye to the YouTubers. You come on over to twitch.tv/beweird, where there's a lot of cool, fine folks, people like Public Loser, who's a sweetie pie, and all sorts of lovely chatters. And yeah, we're gonna check out CoffeeZilla's video, who you should also just go like and subscribe on YouTube. He's wonderful. I just don't want to get any DMCA, and actually want to show this content. It's really good. So yeah, bye YouTubers. Okay. It's just